Hello, this is Jay Nolan, founder and CEO of SereniGy. I want to spend a few moments with you talking about lifestyle money making options. This will be one of the more pointed conversations you're probably going to have because very few people will really talk to you about the money that you need to make in order to have the lifestyle that you really want. Not what you settled for, but what you really want. So if you can spend a few moments with me, I'd like to move into some real talk about money and what it can do for our lifestyles. So here at SereniGy, what we do is we teach people the truth. And what a lot of folks have ran into is they thought they'd be living their American dream. But for most people, it's turned into a nightmare. I mean, we've got foreclosures at an all-time high. We've got credit card debt at an all-time high. We've got student loans at a ridiculous all-time high. We've got bankruptcies, repos, medical bills. We're getting hit from so many angles with bills that most people can't even be who they really are. And so what we do at SereniGy is we teach people how to start making the money to get the lifestyle they really want. See, the answer is SereniGy, and I think after we spend a few moments here, you're going to see that. So let's talk about lifestyle and starting to design our lifestyle. But first, you got to get some knowledge, because with knowledge comes power. Let's talk about our hopes and our dreams. You know, when most of us were growing up, we wanted a dream home. Some of us wanted a mansion, or at least to be able to pay your house off, not have a mortgage. A lot of us wanted exotic cars. We didn't want to settle for an old, used, beat up car. We like to have a nice car that we could drive to be proud of and that would be safe for our families. A lot of us wanted to travel the world, to be able to go to different places before we die. We want to be able to help people. You remember your mother, your dad, your sister, your brother, your friends. You would be the one that would take care of them. If they needed something, they could count on you. What about when it comes to the type of boat you were going to have? A lot of folks, they didn't want an old John boat with the 6 horsepower motor on the back. A lot of folks want a yacht, or at least to be able to have something nice when they go out on the water. What about taking a cruise whenever you want to? Let's talk about owning your own jet instead of having to fly commercial. And if you don't own your own jet, maybe instead of flying commercial, you have a jet card, or maybe you're able to have a jet to where you can lease it out, or at least be able to travel the way you want to travel. But those are some huge dreams there. And I'm telling you, it's possible. But the least thing that should happen in this lifetime is you should end up debt free. Zero debt. There's no need, especially if you're living in a free enterprise society, for you to have debt. And the reason most people have debt is because they haven't really thought about the options for making the money they need to make to not have debt. Most people turn to a job. 97% of the population turns to a job and they end up failing miserably. A job will get you in most cases nowhere. You have no control. So you know that a job is really not an option. When you look at everyone around you, who do you know that's really getting ahead working a job? That's not really an option. Some folks are waiting to inherit the money. Now, do you think that's a viable option? What if someone changes their mind? So when we think about inheriting the money, for most people, it's not an option. Maybe you're going to win the lottery. You got a better chance of getting struck by lightning than winning the lottery. So these are some things I'm talking about to get to the lifestyle you want. So you see over there on the right, those are some of the dreams. And if you're going to try to get those dreams, you got to figure out how you're going to get there. For most of us, a lottery is not an option. Maybe a person wants to be a pro athlete or a movie star. You're talking about 1 in 500,000. Really get a chance to make it big as a pro athlete or a movie star. So for most people, that's not really an option. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying, is it a viable option? For most people, they'd have to say no. Now pay close attention here at option number 5. Owning your own successful business. Owning a successful business. Now, people that have a successful business, do they get what they want out of life? If it's a successful business, I think that most of us would have to say absolutely. Folks get what they want if they have a successful business. So we've identified an appropriate option here. Now you got 3 types of businesses that you can get involved with. You got a traditional business. And in a traditional business, you have to deal with headaches. You got workers' comp, payroll tax, you got employees, overhead, and that's why 85% of traditional businesses fail their first year, 14% break even, 1% actually makes a profit. So when you think about that risk, And a lot of folks will go for it, but for most people, the expenses of starting a traditional business, if you thought about starting your own coffee business, how much would that cost you to get a coffee business going, to get a storefront? A couple $100,000 for most people, that's not really an option. So some folks will turn to a franchise. The key with the franchise is, they got a successful system. If you look at McDonald's, you look at Tim Hortons, Dunkin' Donuts, you're going to have to pay a lot of money for what? That successful system. But you don't really ever see a McDonald's go out of business, do you? Why? Again, they got a successful system. But the key here is how many people have an extra $1.5 million laying around. I think for most people, they say that's not an option either, even though they see that that system works. So what's happening in today's industry, a lot of folks are turning to network marketing, home-based business. Right now we're talking in a neighborhood of about 40, 50 million home-based businesses in North America. They're saying that number is going to more than double. They're saying it's actually going to triple by the year 2015. There will be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 150 million home-based businesses. Why? People want control over their life. People are excited about the potential here of high gain with low startup. So you can get started in network marketing on a shoestring and be able to get to your hopes and dreams. Now I want to go over some things here. For example, in SereniGy, you can get started on a shoestring, $148 or $498, $998, and the highest you can get started is $1498 for what's called one of our launch product packs. So when you look at that compared to what? Traditional business and a franchise, that's not a big deal as far as money to put up. And that is the reason, if you've ever seen anyone fail at network marketing, the reason they fail is because they don't treat it like a business. As a matter of folks, most people that get started with network marketing, they don't even give it the same value that they do with the job. Most people treat it like a hobby. And if you treat it like a hobby, you'll get hobby money. But if you treat a network marketing business like you would treat a traditional franchise, or a traditional business or a franchise, if you treated it like you put up 200,000, what if you had to put up 1.5 million? How would you work your network marketing business? Especially if we can plug you into our successful system, how would you work it? Now, this is what guarantees success for a person. If they come in and they work it the right way with the right attitude, they can guarantee their own success. The company's not going to guarantee any success, no matter what network marketing company you work with. No network marketing company can guarantee your success. But if you work a successful system like we have here in SereniGy, you can literally guarantee your own success if you decide to focus on the key thing with business, and that is getting results. So we've identified for a lot of folks that we can get to our dreams, and we can do so on a shoestring, but we've got to work it like a business, and we can get to our dreams through network marketing. Now let's take some time here. Let's think about what Robert Kiyosaki talked about, because this is going to be a deciding factor on whether you get your hopes and dreams or not. You got to decide where you're going to fit at here on this quadrant. He talked about employees on the left side, self-employed on the left side, exchanging time for money. Hardly anybody we know is getting ahead doing that. So on the right side of the quadrant, you got big business where you own a system. You got people helping you make money. If you start getting enough money from other people's efforts, and then you can have enough to invest to where you got your money making you money. So let's hone in here, because with SereniGy, we get you plugged into our system to where you own the system yourself. It becomes your system. And now we teach you how to incorporate the efforts of other people to help you start making more money, to create a surplus, so you'll have money to invest, so you'll have money to retire on. So what you've got to do, you've got to choose here. This critical time. You've got to choose, because everyone that's listening to my voice, everyone that's viewing this video, you're doing something right now to make money. For most people watching this, what you're doing is not going to get you to where you want to go. You know that, and I know that. So you've got to choose. How's it been working for most people viewing this video? By being an employee, continuing to exchange time for money, having someone else own your life, or being self-employed where you're a slave and you basically have bought yourself a job. How's that working over there where 97% of the population is working? See, with SereniGy, we put you on the 3% side, and I'll give you a system to work so that you can develop the lifestyle that you want. But again, it comes down to that choice. So when we're done and said here, when everything's done and said, you're going to have a life that was designed by you. And you got a chance here with SereniGy to take this network marketing business and be proud of it. Let me tell you something. More millionaires are created in this industry of direct sales than all other industries combined. Now, when you couple that with the fact that we put you right in the epicenter of a massive mega trend like coffee, and we give you a coffee that tastes as good or better, that's price competitive, and it has a health component to it, and it will pay you to drink it and to refer it, you know that you can get some traction here to get your life moving in the right direction. The key that you're going to need is life momentum. And if you continue to put yourself in the wrong money making options, you can't get the life momentum that you want. So I'm encouraging you to take this video extremely serious and make the right choice. See, right now, you get to choose your life. These are some of the most precious moments that you're ever going to spend, because when you're done watching this video, you get to make a decision. And I encourage you to get involved with SereniGy. And if you are involved with SereniGy, go build this like a traditional business with the same effort and energy. Go build it like a franchise, as if you put up millions of dollars and you watch your dreams start to come to pass. Nothing is impossible for those who choose the life that they really want. I'm encouraging you to get to the top with SereniGy, and I look forward to shaking your hand and hugging you one day, high-fiving you, saying, you know what, we made it.